Welcome to Negotiation with Alice, your negotiation podcast. Everything that you do where you need to get on the same page with someone else is a negotiation. So whether you have to negotiate a contract with someone, or you simply need your boss to sign off on that program that you'd like to implement, or you want to figure out how to rebalance the chore structure in your home, or talk about what vacation you want to go on. All of these things are negotiations. So in my podcast, we go over both personal and professional conversations, which all are considered negotiation, and I will give you tips on how to come out ahead. Welcome to the show. Welcome to another episode of Negotiation with Alice. Today, I have Hendon from the Mindful CEO with us today. Aaron, welcome.
Alice, thanks so much for having me. This is so much fun.
Yes, I'm very excited about the conversation we're about to have. I'd love for you to introduce yourself to my listeners, let them know a little bit about what you do and anything interesting and special about yourself.
Sure, thanks. Let's see. So I live on a small island off the coast of Seattle. If I get fancy, I tell people I live on a small island in the Pacific, which is not accurate, but close. Close enough for government work, as we say. I am a managing broker of a real estate team. I'm a best-selling author, and I am a mindfulness meditation teacher. And I've combined all those things, I think, in a way that really fulfills me, and it makes my team incredibly productive and fulfilled, satisfied, happy. And that's what I do. I work with realtors and business professionals that are looking to get off the hamster wheel of hustle culture and into a more mindful state without giving up any performance, in fact, increasing their performance.
Tell us a bit about the book that you wrote, your award-winning book.
Yeah, it's the book. Well, I've written a couple of real estate books that, become bestsellers, and they're everything from how to sell your house, all the hidden things about selling your house that you don't know, the heuristics that are involved in any kind of sales process. And, but I have an upcoming book, which is what I'm really excited about. It's a mindful meditation training guide called How to Live a Grateful Life in a Fckd Up World. And it is really, it's a 9-week path, a 9-week practice for staying grounded and centered in a world that is apparently has a mission to be more and more wonky every day. Every day is like, hold my beer. Let's see how messed up we can get things today. So that's coming out in July.
Fabulous. I'm very excited to read it. Will it be available on Amazon, or where can people get it?
It'll be available on Amazon or my website, which is aaronhendon.com, and people can find it anywhere.
Is it on pre-sale now, or is it pre-sale?
It's not yet on pre-sale. Thanks for asking, but it will be soon. Sometime in this month, it'll be on pre-sale.
Fabulous. Let me know. Okay.
I will, absolutely. I promise.
So I want to dive right into the topic at hand, and you kind of like touched upon it right now when you're talking about like the world being crazier and crazier. And, that really talks to a bit about our emotional states and how if our emotional states get, as you said, wonky, as the world gets wonky, that's also going to affect our brain, because neuroscience is inherently tied to, everything that we do and how we think and how we make decisions. And so, being the mindful CEO and, you are using meditation in a way to ground the mind. So talk a bit about, when people are going into high stakes negotiations or something that just basically is high stakes, whatever that might be, how, in your view, does meditation prepare them for the event that they're facing?
Yeah, it's a really good question. And so this is not my view. This is fact. This is this way the brain works. So I have plenty of views, but this is neuroscience. This is like, if you eat less calories than you burn, you'll lose weight. That's math, right? That's just the math of it. You don't have to worry about it. No one's like, I don't know about eating a diet and exercise. No one questions that. No one asks, what's your view on diet and exercise? So the math of it, the science of it, of meditation, is that it grows your prefrontal cortex. It grows the rational, reasonable center of your brain, and it shrinks the activity in your amygdala, your fight, flight, or freeze mechanism in your brain. So you become more responsive and less reactive. Period. And that's 10 minutes a day of meditation, of mindfulness, of meditation. And there's the difference between mindfulness and meditation. I don't know, we need to get into, but 10 minutes of that a day will produce that result for people. Just like lifting weights will increase your muscle mass, just like jogging or cardiovascular work will increase your cardiovascular health, just like yoga will increase your flexibility, meditation will increase your responsiveness and decrease your reactivity. There's 70 years of science on this. The most interesting one I just read, which points to this thing about high stakes negotiation, is recent studies showed that Division I college basketball players in a double-blind study that practiced 10 minutes of meditation a day, that practiced mindfulness, increased their free throw percentage by 5 points a game compared to the people that didn't. Now, we're recording this during the NBA final playoffs. And, that's high stakes. That's a high stake moment. And a free throw is an interesting thing too, because it's just you and your brain and the basket. No one's messing with you. This is just all you. 5 points a game.
Yeah, that's
10 minutes a day. So when we go into a high stakes negotiation, which, like I'm a realtor. I just did this. I had a $2 million, I had a buyer that was buying a $2.1 million house, and we wanted to get it for less, obviously. And we negotiated that price down to 1.8. We got like 250. We got $250,000 off the price.
Wow, that's significant.
And yeah, it was a significant thing. But that ability to stay present in that without my ego getting involved, which is a fight, flight, or fright response, don't do that to me, and what about me, and and how do I look, or I might lose the deal. If there's salespeople listening, the commission breath, I might lose it. I don't want them to ask for this much. I got to talk to my client about not asking for, being able to read the other agent, the body cues. If I'm not all obsessed with what I'm thinking and how I'm doing, which is the normal way we operate, if I'm able to just be present, I can see things and how they are speaking. I can hear things I wouldn't otherwise be able to hear. And it all made, that was part of the preparation that we did, that I do, is meditate, is to prepare my mind for that.
So then what I'm understanding from what you're saying is when you do the meditation, and it sounds like you should be doing it on a regular basis, right?
10 minutes a day.
We're not suggesting like only on the day that you had the big negotiation, your meditation, right?
You don't jog the day before the marathon. Okay. You're going to run a marathon. You prepare to run a marathon. You do it for months. You have a plan. You get it set up. Yes.
Right. And then when you do that meditation, it clears away all the extraneous mental noise.
Yeah. It creates a coherence in the brain of a calmer, more centered expression. So there's an interesting book, I think a fascinating book, called No Mind, No Problem: How Neuropsychology is Catching Up to Buddhism.
Interesting.
And it's all about the different ways that neuroscience is now demonstrating the truth of what the Buddhists and meditators have been proclaiming for 2,500 years. And that is, your brain is a wild monkey. Your brain is, everyone's heard that monkey mind, right? I don't think that's,
I don't
anyway.
know. I've heard of monkey mind.
Okay, monkey mind. But you go to why people don't meditate because they have monkey mind. My mind's too active. I can't do this. And, you're distracted. And mostly in a high stakes situation, you're distracted by the fear of failure, about how you're going to look, about your need for the outcome, but you don't have any way to control it. Here's the best metaphor for what meditation is. So for people, let me just talk about what it's not. Okay, because what it's not is clearing the mind, is sitting with no thoughts, cross-legged on a cushion with incense. Now, that is, you could meditate that way, and some people do, and I have, and it is a kind of, but it's not what I'm talking about. Because what meditation is really is, it's like training a puppy. If you've ever trained a puppy, you put him in a box, and the puppy's job, once you put the puppy in the box, is to get out of the box. That's what the puppy likes to do. It wants to get out of the box. It wants to explore. And you want it to stay in the box. So it gets out of the box, and then you pick it up, and you're kind to it. You're gentle with it. You don't yell at the puppy. It's a puppy. Why would you yell at a puppy? And you put it back in the box. And then it tries to get out, and you put it back in the box. And it tries to get out, and you put it back in the box. And that's it. That's the whole training. That's the whole training. In fact, you can't train it to stay in the box if it doesn't try to get out.
Right.
It getting out's not a problem. It's what's necessary for you to train it. And if you train your puppy, you wind up with a well-trained dog. And a well-trained dog will do what you ask it to do. It'll fetch, it'll sit. It's your best friend. It's your best friend. And I don't know anyone who thinks their brain is their best friend.
Right.
Because you haven't trained your brain. You have a feral dog in your brain that is squirrel. And every random thought that comes up, or maybe not even random, because there's $1 trillion a year advertising industry demanding that your brain go in a particular direction. And we have the most distracting device in the world in our pockets at all time that's constantly pulling at our attention. And so our feral dog is chasing all of that stuff. And what meditation is you take a breath in, and maybe you get to the out breath before you start making a list. Okay, you notice you're making a list, puppy's out of the box. Let's put the puppy back in the box, back to the breath. Another breath in, maybe you get to the out breath before it cuts out of the box again, and now you're finishing an argument you had with that idiot on the internet 3 weeks ago. Okay, now you come back to the box, and you just smile, and you come back to the box, and that's it. 10 minutes a day, just watching the mind get out of the box and bringing it back to the box. That is the bicep curl. That's the rep. That's the muscle building. So that's the wax on, wax off, if you want to get Mr. Miyagi about it, of training your brain. Meditation is brain training. You're training your brain to do what? To stay present.
Yep.
To stay. You train your puppy and it'll stay. Now you're in a negotiation. You're fully here.
Right.
You're present. Let the other person chase rabbits. You can see things, you can hear things. You have no ego involved. You're just here for the win. It's night and day kind of an experience.
Yeah, I like how you say, when you mention that you can hear things and notice things that you may not have noticed otherwise. And for my listeners, I want to point out that the reason why that happens is because your own thoughts are not blocking you from hearing and noticing things that you normally would miss because you're so involved in your own thoughts, which can be very loud.
Yes, exactly. Everyone's had the experience of, what'd you say? I was, and we know, certainly anyone who's been trained in negotiation, anyone, this is like 101, that you've got, 2 ears and one mouth. You're meant to listen, right? You listen twice as much as you speak. That the person that speaks first, there's all sorts of, tips that we all understand intellectually about negotiation that aren't news to us. That we want to listen for understanding. This is Stephen Covey, right? Not listening to respond.
Right.
And those are all accurate and powerful and useful ways of operating when we're in a negotiation. But there's a difference between understanding it and being able to implement it. And unless you train the device that's going to be responsible for implementing it, you're not going to be able to implement it.
Exactly. Because that's the baseline, right? You have to get it, like you said, before you even train it to fetch, you have to train it to just
stay.
Stay.
Good boy. Good boy.
So I want to go back to the topic of when you're talking about the basketball players, being able to increase, their performance.
Yeah.
And one of the things that, I picked up because I do sports, and one of my coaches, and this is sort of like tied into your meditation, is that she said, you should meditate on so I row. And so I was going to be coxing one day, and I was very nervous. And I mentioned to my coach, I'm really nervous. Like, I haven't coxed before in a race. And so this is really nerve-wracking for me. And her advice was to envision the entirety of the race.
Yes.
Before the race. Because your brain does not distinguish between whether you're really doing it or you're imagining it. So talk a bit about that.
Sure.
Using visualization in the meditations and how that can help you in your negotiations.
100%. Visualization is a wonderful tool, super useful tool, especially in specific contexts like a sporting event. I mean, this is Olympic athletes do this on the regular now. They watch themselves, visualize themselves going down the slope, doing whatever it is, coxing. So again, it's a function that you will. So there's a kind of meditation that you could call visualization, where you visualize your happy place, visualize a meadow, and guided meditations that'll do that. If I would say it this way, they're useful when they're useful to you. There is a utility to them, and the underlying skill of being able to visualize your race is the same skill that's required to watch the breath.
Yep.
To keep the mind on that race for the length of the meditation, for as long as you want, without it, oh, but what if I mess this up? Oh, what if this doesn't work? Oh, what if, you can start to visualize it, but if you've not developed the capacity to have what I call agency of attention, have some say about where you rest your attention, the distractions will take you out. And you've had to have had this experience, right? That, you intend to visualize the whole race, but then you wind up worried, right? Down some rabbit hole about that. And then you come back to the visualization. I want to underline something, especially, and this is people are going to need to listen to this like 16 times to get this, because especially in business, high stakes negotiation, people involved in my field, your field, the field where it's required that you produce a result. Mm-hmm. There's a lot of money involved. There's a lot of tension involved. It's high stakes. We tend to be, that culture is very driven, very harsh, lots of edges, lots of, there's not a lot of softness, kindness, or gentleness in that space. Let's say it that way. And it's so important in learning to meditate, in training your brain, just like training a puppy, that you're kind to yourself when
Yes.
you're doing it, that the mind wandering isn't a failure to meditate. You didn't fail to meditate because you caught your mind wandering. In fact, it's the opposite. Because you saw your mind wander, you successfully got present. Now,
Yep.
maybe you did it twice in the 10 minutes. Okay. That's twice. Let's celebrate that. Don't beat yourself up for having your mind wandered. Celebrate that you noticed it.
Right.
That's the biggest deal there is.
And I think, you know, similarly, when you're talking about how when you're doing the meditation and you're doing that practice of bringing your brain back to the present moment using breath, right? And if I'm getting distracted, then again, to notice it and bring it back. So similarly, what that does when you're actually in, I'm going to just use the same thing that I was talking about, which is rowing, right? Then when I am actually really doing it, if I properly trained my brain to sort of be present and notice everything that's happening, then when I'm actually in the race, I'm also not going to start thinking like, oh, I made the wrong call. And oh my gosh, they must be thinking that I suck and this and that, right? Like that
Yes,
doesn't happen.
that's right. That's right. In the moment, it's very Mr. Miyagi. It's very wax on, wax off. That the point of meditating is not to get good at meditating. You're not doing it to wax the car.
Right.
You're doing it so that the muscle is there in the moment you need it. When you're doing the thing you're doing, and in negotiation, that's right. There's no award for being a good meditator. I've been looking too because I've been meditating for a while, and I want my prize, but there isn't one. The prize I get is that I got my client $250,000.
I mean, that's a good
Which I
prize.
love as a prize. It's like my favorite thing. I love doing that. Yeah, you're absolutely right, Alice. That's exactly right. The point is not the meditation. The point is who you're going to be during the race.
Exactly. And you're clearing your mind of all the chatter, all the self-criticisms too, right?
Yeah, and look, so we said all the self-criticisms and all the chatter, and that's unlikely to ever happen. All of it. In fact, any of it. Let's just look at it that way. You're not going to eliminate the chatter. What you're going to be able to do is notice the chatter and go, "Oh, that's chatter. And here's my breath." As opposed to that's chatter and I'm either going to, like, the extreme of it is I believe it, or even slightly slightly off of that is I have to do something about it.
Right.
Neither of those two things are useful or true. It's the chatter is certainly not true. The chatter is just doing its thing, and you don't have to do anything about it because the brain. Let's go back to neuroscience. The default mode network is what neuroscience calls your resting state, your normal, non-meditative, just sort of, if you're not present, you're in default mode network. And your brain's job, which it is brilliant at, is to keep you alive.
Yep.
Okay, its job is survival. Its job is to look for threats, have you avoid them.
Yep.
That's it. Not have you thrive, not have you win, not have you be happy, not have you succeed in any way other than just to make it to another day where you might be able to procreate. You are an animal. That's the job of the brain. That's what it does. So it's never going to stop generating, hopefully, never going to stop generating potential threats, including threats to your ego, who you know yourself to be, to your job. All those imposter syndrome things are all threats or threat responses to keep you safe.
Mm-hmm.
It's not going to stop doing that. What meditation allows for is to move from the default mode network of all those thoughts to noticing the default mode network, going, oh, okay, my brain's doing its job and my feet feel like this on the ground.
Right.
And I'm here now. Now, what's the most appropriate action given the circumstances?
I love that you mentioned your feet on the ground, because another way to really help people tap into meditation and grounding is really like noticing your body, right?
100%. Yeah. Alice, I love that you said that too, because it's a big thing. I teach people when I teach them to meditate is that the brain time travels. The brain is worried about the future or reminiscing about the past.
Yep.
Or regretting, right? The body is always in the present. If you want to get present, what do my feet feel like on the ground?
Yep.
What does my butt feel like in the chair right now? What's the air feel like against my skin? Which is why you can meditate. We keep talking about meditation not being good. You shower, just be present to what the water feels like on your skin for the length of time you shower. Just notice and be present to the sensations of what's happening. Those kind of mindful moments, washing the dishes, enjoying your coffee in silence, doing something intentionally, mindfully produces the same effect in the brain as silent meditation. It's the ability, all you're doing is training the brain to stay in the present on purpose with no judgment.
I love that.
Yeah.
That's fantastic. It's very powerful. And, you know, sometimes what I do, because I have very boring sports such as swimming. And so for me, swimming is very meditative because
It
it's
really is.
the
Yeah.
same thing over and over and over. And so I clear my mind. I'm just literally clearing my mind. And I noticed that in the past, I don't do it anymore, but I used to rock climb. You cannot successfully get to the top of a climb if you have all the mental chatter. So it's very meditative to just like look at the rock.
That's what I love about snowboarding is in the midst of it, right? There is no chance that my brain is going to do anything other than be engaged in the present moment. And the moment it doesn't, there is a chance, but in the present, if it takes the opportunity to debate,
right,
you fall.
Right.
Rock climbing is a much higher stakes.
Right. But it's very meditative in that it forces you to be in the present moment.
Yeah.
It forces you to recognize where your body is in space. It forces you to like really inspect the rock that you're touching.
Yeah.
And how deep does that crevice feel? How much of a ledge is there that I'm feeling, right? It's everything is in the present moment. And so you cannot be reminiscing about the past or regretting the fact that you fell off of, a climb last week and actually expect to like move forward. So I think most of life's large events are that way, that you will succeed if you can stay incredibly present.
Because where's anything happening?
Now.
It's the only time anything's happening. Yeah. That's it. This is math. This isn't like meditation makes you good at something by some weird spiritual event and the universe gives you good karma or juju or anything like that. And that all may be true as well, because I could get totally woo as well if you wanted to. But the science of it is the only thing happening is happening in the present.
Yep.
Action is the only thing that produces results. The only thing that produces results in this negotiation is what I say and what they say and how I hear what they say and how they hear what I say. The only thing that's happening is speaking and listening. Now, in reality, so if you're going to make a difference in the only place that anything's happening, which is now, I need to be here now.
So I love that. So basically, meditation helps train your brain to be present.
Yes.
I love that, Aaron.
That's what we do.
Fantastic. Well,
Alice, thank you so much for such a good conversation.
Yes, I really enjoyed it. If anyone wants to work with you or get in touch with you, how can they find you, Aaron?
Yeah, aaronhendon.com. I do programs and trainings. I have a free training, mindfulness training coming up on July 1st. If anyone's interested, I do free trainings. I do paid trainings. I do whatever. But yes, aaronhendon.com.
Fabulous. And make sure to let me know when your pre-sale of your book comes
out. I
out.
absolutely will.
I would love to know about it. And thank you, listeners, for tuning in to another episode of Negotiation with Alice. Until next time.